girls, but they're in bed. Clementine in her head. She was mine for a time. Now she makes me cry.
My name's Zach. I play in Dreamer Boy and Lone Stars, and I'm going to talk about this here Roland VT4 vocal pedal. For a while there, I was kind of like running tracks with my show and doing the whole thing where we had in-ears and I was running my vocal to a computer, to like my Apollo interface, and then we were doing like effects and stuff like that programmed into like a session. For this show, we wanted to get like out of a box. I think like just getting a vocal pedal that did some of the stuff that I was doing in programming in the sessions, it now is like sort of just like a one-stop shop for like just me doing that manually. What's cool about this pedal is once you like create like a preset or like you get it sounding how you want it to, you can just like save a preset. Like 3 is like one of the songs that have like tune on it. There's like a little auto pitch knob in the center. You can like kind of pick how quick you want the tune to be grabbing your vocal. If you want like super hard tune, or if on some songs if you want just like a little help. You know, there's always like that one song that you want like a little help on, but you don't want it to feel like an auto-tune effect. You set that like speed up here. There's like the key knob, set your key, pretty standard stuff. And then like when you're creating the like preset, just like kind of mix in how much of the effect you want, usually all the way. But yeah, for tune, that's how you do it on this thing, and it turns out pretty clean. Yeah, I've used other pedals like before, and this one seems to do the trick in a pretty kind of grabby way, I feel like. Like I have this like preset number 1 that just is like my favorite, just like kind of slap back feeling, just kind of like listening to like Springsteen records, and then also like that band like Suicide. I really love like the way they would use like sort of just like delay, and like you can just kind of like send it out if you want. So like you can stay on the preset, or like in the middle of a song, I could just grab the delay and just like do a quick like little like splash of like reverb and delay and stuff like that. But yeah, I tend to just stay on like that slap back for most of the songs, and then the occasional like tune for a song, and maybe a certain song is like a little more wet or whatever. So.
You got your Fleetwood freedom. I just want to see you fly, treading on my heart sometimes.
And like, yeah, I just like having a little bit of the like spring out there just as I'm like kind of running around on stage shouting and stuff. It's just fun, yeah.
I got my first Rickenbacker for Christmas a long time ago. My dad got it for me. I had to learn a bunch of scales, and then he gave me my first guitar. It was a 360, wasn't a big fan, so I traded in for the 330, and now we're here. They call me just Crim and Christian and all sorts of different nicknames, and I kind of wanted some sticker on it to give it personality, and Cooge was kind of, I guess, my sidekick name. It's like Crim and Cooge. And then I do a lot of capoing, so I have all the capo notes up there. It's kind of out of tune. Broke a string. Before tour, I needed an amp. I just bought this because I wanted a jazz chorus, but they're kind of out of my price range. Wanted solid state. It's a very bassy amp, so I got like the bass kind of all the way down, and then mids and treble are just at like, 5. Another thing with the amp is I really wanted to try to do like no pedals for this tour and see what that would be. Obviously, didn't really work. It has like a foot switch for chorus and overdrive, so I was doing that for a long time, but I have an always on. It's very subtle. Yeah, just adds a little. Guitar hits, hum debugger, because, noisy clubs, noisy gear. Then goes to a Pigtronics chromatic tuner. I got on tour because I was rocking a Snark for the first couple shows, and that was just not it. from the tuner into a JHS pulp and peel. Just adds that little from the pulp and peel, running into this Maestro Ranger Overdrive, which I bought yesterday. So I was using the amp overdrive, but it's a little funny. And I was trying to convince myself the funny was cool, but I had to kind of grow up and buy a overdrive pedal. And then, yeah, I used the Fairfield on a song. Gives like a noisy little, yeah. And then Giga delay, La delay. I do a lot of like the, Giga delay has like that cool feature where you can just hold it and it'll just go. A bunch of the record stuff was modular, a lot of the weird textures. So I loaded some of those in here for droney, patty landscapes. And then, yeah, those are kind of just running clean into a bunch of different effects that I can then make a little different from what the record sounds like, and also add new not record things and kind of tweak them into the realm of the set, I guess. So a lot of it's just like running a sample. I have like a little granular thing that like smears it, and then that's also going into like this resynthesizer. So that kind of turns any signal into a synth. You can just smear it and make a synth pad without really having to give any note information into it. So I'm going 1010 Music Bitbox into Panharmonium, into Morphogene, which is a make noise, into Clouds, into Data Bender, into Milky Way, into an output module. So a lot of it is I'll like play, let's see, I'll do like a sample. This is from the song If You're Not in Love. So it's like kind of just like a little droning thing. And to make it so the drummer doesn't really have to keep time to that, I'll like bring in this little like Panharmonium resynthesizer thing, and then I'll, you know, add more effects to the point where it's kind of just like there, but not really, you can't really recognize it, you know? And eventually it just even gets to like that, which is, you know, it's kind of a nice filler for anything, I don't know, any song. And then yeah, I have like little like vocal things.
Hey dudes. Hope you're having a great time. I miss you a ton.
Vocal samples. It's Aaron's brother. Yeah. Just kind of running random things just to make the set more interesting, I guess. My dad's friends with the guy who makes 1010 music stuff, Aaron. He sent us those modules like, I don't know, a long time ago. Never really got into it. Aaron was really, when I met him, he was really into modular. Kind of sparked my like, oh, I have a couple modules laying around, and bought a case, and then bought some more things to make the modules interact more healthily with each other, and then, yeah, now we're here. A lot of money and time later. The stage setup is kind of like it's backyardy, so we have fake grass, a cooler, and I have a little grill that it sits on, and then, yeah, I'm kind of grilling the tones.
Yeah, this is just a Mexican telly, player series probably. The neck is like ridiculous if it's so easy to play. I've never had lock-in tuners that kind of freak me out, but it has been proven to be like incredibly helpful for string breaks on stage. Right now we're just doing, I think, like Ernie Ball super slinky nines. I usually play like flat wounds back home, but for this project it felt like it kind of made the most sense to get some kind of spanky. I'm borrowing it from the lead singer, Zach. This is not mine right now. All my guitars are kind of pieces of junk. I have like a little $300 Teisco at home that hums like hell, and then like a Squier Telly at home. So we're borrowing gear for a lot of this tour. For whatever reason for this tour, I decided to go kind of like solid state mode. This is like a funky little, it's supposed to be an acoustic amp with a preamp in it. It's a Gens Benz Shenandoah. I bought it at this guitar shop in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. And it has these like freaky little like built-in like stereo Alesis effects. So I'm kind of like running the like chorus send, like, I don't know how, it's like 50, it's like at noon. They sound awesome. One of the last shows we played, we were able to like run it line out, and it sounded really strange. But I just kind of love the solid state breakup sound, almost more than tube right now. it has like something that it's got going on, because it has this like little like preamp that you can kind of drive, and then a master thing. I'm kind of having it at just like 50% right now, but I kind of feel like for whatever reason this setup like allows me to like dig in, or like I like play a little more dynamically rather than like relying on like a super huge like change in tone. I guess the idea of just sort of keeping things in place and then just leaning into playing more than like relying on other things. That's just kind of, I'm also just not a pedal guy. I'm like a modular synth guy. I'm borrowing a lot of this stuff. So like that's like, we're figuring it out as we go along. Kind of the star of the show here is this like hum debugger thing by Electro Harmonics. Hear that? Horrific. Cuts it almost completely. I got that maybe 2 days before we left for tour because I needed to figure something out on the fly. I tried a noise gate, I tried other things, but it is if you have like a single coil situation and you're dealing with some hum, gets rid of it somehow like immediately. I have this whammy here and I'm only using it as like a chorus, which feels like kind of a waste. I was initially gonna start using it for some more harmonic stuff, but I just kind of like, I don't know, it's like pedals are kind of funky for me. So it's like, I kind of would rather just like let it be what it is. And so it just is a really nice. Down here, beneath all the harmonic like options, there's just this thing that says detune, and you can either do like shallow or deep for like a more like ridiculous chorus. So there's like a shallow little chorus thing going on in there. So that's kind of the main function of the whammy, is just like a chorus. I have this thing here, the Hologram Infinite Jets. It's technically like a resynthesis pedal, I think. I'm not using it for that at all. Like I have the effect totally dry, but there's this drive that's built into it that like, I can like kind of demonstrate a little bit like. I don't really have any idea what the drive is doing. It almost sounds like it's compressing it, it's squishing it, it's doing a lot of funky stuff that I had a hard time finding in like other drive pedals. So like, it just feels best as just a drive pedal, which feels kind of wasteful and strange, but we love it. And then that's going into a Line 6 DL4. This is like the only pedal that's actually mine besides the hum debugger. And I just like love the DL4 so much. It's like the coolest looper delay thing on the planet. I mostly just have it on the looper in case like there's a couple of songs where I'll do like a little volume swell drone in situation. Lately I've been playing more with just like the delay settings that come before the loop like channel, because they just sound so good. For one song I'm using the like, there's this like auto volume like kind of. To kind of get like a little lap steely. Some of that's on the record, but just kind of felt like ridiculous to bring like a little tiny rogue lap steel or something. It's just like, might as well kind of jimmy it there. But I'm obsessed with the DL4s, like the halftime, the reverse, all the crazy stuff that goes on in the looping section is like my jam. And I don't really do it as much live because like it just gets so hairy so quickly, but as like a creative tool, it's like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, like for this tour, I like bought, I just went to the local Guitar Center in Hollywood, California, and picked up a $200 Bronco bass. And I love it. It rips. Tone knob, this thing is sick. It just kind of rolls off the tone a little bit, and yeah, it gives me that extra kind of thump when I need it. This is kind of like without the tone. And then when you kind of roll it in, it's like, hear that distortion, kind of like that breaking up? Yeah, it's the sauce. No, I'm just kidding. There's no distortion needed with this tone. This is like maybe the best pedal in the world. It's a chromatic tuner pedal, super clean, super slick. You can change modes on it. But yeah, this has a ton of tone to it. And just kind of like, and you hear that buzz too? I actually kind of like it. You know? No, just kidding. My buddy Christian, obviously, he has like a hum debugger, and I totally should have bought one, but I didn't. They're kind of hard to get your hands on them. You know, they don't sell them at Guitar Centers. So, no, all jokes aside, just a basic tuner pedal. I guess I was gonna say that like it's how you play the bass too. Like a lot of playing, I feel like that I'm doing is, you know, I like to use my thumb and I mute it down here. I feel like you can make a cheap bass sound better or more expensive if you kind of little bit of muted palm right here, and you know, a lot of this is just different tones. You know, when you're playing, you know, more rigid rocky things. It's a lot of, you know, and I have a pick sometimes. I'll use the pick, maybe roll off just the slightest bit of tone. Not that that sounds particularly good, but you know, I could totally get a big pedal board, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but it's working for me. And I can also kind of like make my own compression too, of just like sustaining the notes you can kind of do with your thumb a little bit better. I'll like be trading off playing with my thumb and pick during songs, even just when I'm doing more single note stuff, like on that song, If You're Not in Love, there's a lot of like. And then for the second verse I go. And it's like, yeah, it's just like changing the tone up, reading what the song is doing, and locking into that kick drum pattern. Honestly, like it can kind of mask any bad tone. I'm not really a bass player, but talking about the record, I played like most of the bass lines on the record, and we had like an assortment of kind of basses that we like got to use, like vintage stuff, and then going through certain preamps, and then sometimes just like, yeah, like, you know, a Squier P bass through an Apollo Twin, you know, stuff like that.
She was mine for a time, now she makes me cry.
Hey, it's Fingy from Audiotree. Want to hear the gear in action? Head on over to the Audiotree YouTube channel or click the link down below. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.